Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to the preview for the 2021 Styrian Grand Prix. Last time out, shock of all shocks, we actually had a pretty good race at Paul Ricard, but now it's on to the Red Bull Ring for the second race of the first triple header of the season and the first of two races in Austria. I've got to be honest, I tend to look forward to this one quite a bit because it does give us plenty of action, usually anyway. And hopefully with such a close field this year, we're going to see plenty more action this weekend. Last year's Styrian Grand Prix, though, I'm not going to lie, was a little bit, shall we say, disappointing, especially when you consider what we've seen the week before. But the opening lap saw plenty of side-by-side action through the field, and we even saw Carlos Sainz challenging Max Verstappen for P2 through the first part of the lap. But further back, it was a disaster for Ferrari as their two cars collided, with Charles Leclerc going up the inside of his teammate at turn 3, hitting him, and that caused race-ending damage to Vettel's car and ultimately his own as he retired on lap 5. Following that, though, aside from the pit stops, it was all a little bit sedate until lap 40 when Sainz and Perez went wheel-to-wheel on the run to turn 4, with the Spaniard initially getting the move done. But Checo fought back immediately and made an incredible move around the outside of the McLaren at turn 6. Absolutely lovely stuff. On lap 66, Valtteri Bottas closed up on Max Verstappen and managed to pass the Red Bull on the run to turn 4, but the Dutchman came back at him around the outside of 4 and then up the inside of 6 to keep hold of the position. But a lap later, Bottas tried the same move again and this time managed to make it stick. On lap 70, it was all kicking off as Perez and Albon touched, causing damage to the Mexican's front wing, and he ended up cruising around to try and make it to the end of the race. And on the same lap, Lance Stroll dived bombed Daniel Ricciardo at turn 3, forcing them both off the track and allowing Lando Norris into the fight, with the Brit sending one down the inside of the Canadian on the last lap for P6, and then caught a slow Perez and snatched P5 at the final corner, with Stroll and Ricciardo in a drag race to the line with Checo. What a finish to the Grand Prix that was. But at the front, it was Lewis Hamilton who converted pole into victory, finishing ahead of teammate Valtteri Bottas with Max Verstappen third, and Carlos Sainz at the point for fastest lap after he set a 1 minute 5.619 on lap 68. That is last year done, so let's start looking ahead to this weekend, starting with the usual track stats. A lap of the Red Bull Ring is 4.318 kilometres. If you would prefer that in miles, that's 2.683, and consists of just 10 corners. That's 3 to the left and 7 to the right, and come Sunday, we will, all being well, see a total of 71 racing laps. There will be 3 DRS zones this weekend, all of which have their own detection points as well. The first zone, though, runs between turns 1 and 3. The second is between 3 and 4, and the third is down the start-finish straight. That fastest lap from Carlos Sainz last year is the lap record, but the fastest ever lap around the circuit came courtesy of Valtteri Bottas in 2020, who posted a 102.939 on his way to pole position at the Austrian Grand Prix. Track limits, surprise, will be monitored this weekend at the exits of turn 9 and 10. Now, the first edition of the Race Director's event note says that any lap time achieved during qualifying or practice by, and this is the key, leaving the track and cutting behind the red and white curb at turn 9 will result in that lap time being deleted. As for turn 10, it is largely the same, but with the addition that should any driver cut behind the curb, the following lap time will also be deleted. The tyre compounds available for this weekend are slap bang in the middle of the range, so that's the hard C2, the medium C3, and the soft C4. The winning strategy for last year's Styrian Grand Prix was a one-stop with Hamilton going from the softs to the mediums. The medium C3 last year, by the way, was run for as long as 44 laps. And with this track not being all that demanding on tyres, we could easily see something very similar this year. That said, a safety car in the middle of the race could see some choose to switch it up and take advantage of, say, a free pit stop, and that would obviously therefore turn the race into a two-stopper. And on the subject of safety cars, Aston Martin says that despite seeing 4 of them across the 2 races last year, 3 for Austria and 1 for Styria, there is historically actually only a 50% chance of one being triggered during a dry race. The big question is, though, will it be dry? Well, the forecast at time of recording says no, it won't. Well, for certain parts of the event anyway. It should, I'll emphasise that word again, should be dry for FP1 apparently, although it could rain towards the end of the session, but rain is expected to start rolling in the afternoon and could hit FP2, with thunderstorms also very possible. Saturday looks better if you're after a dry one, that is, although there is an increasing threat of showers for qualifying, and when it comes to the race, there is a very specific 47% chance we will see some wet weather. Obviously, every forecast seems to have its own take on this, but all of the ones that I've looked at seem to have come to the same consensus, and that is that conditions in Austria this weekend will be mixed. Bring it on. Still to come in this preview, I'll run through some driver form, make some probably terrible predictions, and take a quick look at the schedule for the weekend. But before all of that, it's time for the usual round of Quickfire Stats courtesy of Lights Out Blog. Whilst F1 has visited the Red Bull Ring, as it's known now, on many occasions over the years, this weekend will only be the second race held under the name of the Styrian Grand Prix, with next week's second race reverting to the usual Austrian Grand Prix event. In total, there have been 2004 F1 racing laps around the circuit so far. Sir Jackie Stewart is the only driver to be crowned world champion in Austria, winning his second title at the track back in 1971. Across every event held at the circuit, 425 of the 763 to start a race have gone on to finish, giving the circuit an overall finish rate of 56%. And Emerson Fittipaldi, Niki Lauda, Rene Arnoux, Mika Hakkinen, Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas are the only drivers to have taken back-to-back poles at the Red Bull Ring in its various iterations. Arnoux, by the way, taking every pole between 1979 and 81. Time for a look at some driver form then. As we've got 2 races in Austria again this year, what I'll do is pick 5 out at random this week and 5 more next week, but all of the info will be based on each driver's form overall in Austria. Max Verstappen has enjoyed some strong form in Austria of late, taking 3rd place last year and winning in 2018 and 2019. He did retire from the first race there last year and did the same in 2017, but he did finish 2nd in 2016 and 8th at his first appearance at the track in 15. Verstappen has made it into Q3 every year he has competed and qualified for the first time on the front row for the Styrian Grand Prix last year, although he did start on the front row for the Austrian races in 2019 and 2020 as a result of penalties for Lewis Hamilton. Nikita Mazepin has obviously never raced at the Red Bull Ring in F1, but he did race there throughout his junior career. In Euro F3 back in 2017, he finished on the podium at 2 of the 3 races at the track. That form didn't carry over into F2 though, as he only managed to score once at the track, and that was thanks to an 8th place finish in the Styrian sprint race last year. Antonio Giovinazzi made his first Austrian F1 appearance in 2019, picking up 10th place for Alfa Romeo, and followed that up in 2020 with 9th place at the opening round of the season. However, he did only manage 14th a week later. Gio did make it into Q3 in 2019, but was knocked out in Q1 at both of the races at the track last year. Fernando Alonso has taken part in a total of 7 races at the Red Bull Ring, but has actually only managed to finish the race twice. He retired from his first 2 races there in 2001 and 2003, and again in 15, 16 and 17. He did, though, pick up 5th place for Ferrari in 2014 and 8th for McLaren the last time the race was held in Austria. He has also only qualified in the top 10 once, although it's got to be said, for 4 of the 7 appearances he was either driving a poor McLaren Honda or a Minardi. And Lance Stroll's best result in Austria is 7th, and he picked that up last year at the Styrian event, but he did also take 10th place for Williams at his first appearance at the track in 17. Other than those, though, his best result is just 2 lots of 14th places. From his 5 appearances at the track, the 2020 Austrian Grand Prix is the only time that Stroll has managed to make it into Q3, where he qualified 9th, by far his best result on a Saturday. Right then, time for some predictions. Just the one set again this week, and that's the realistic ones based on recent form and all of that jazz. But I might try something different for next week's race. Now, I'd be shocked if this one wasn't between Mercedes and Red Bull, but even though that's pretty much a guarantee, it's still a tough call as to who will come out on top. Red Bull has won the last 3 races of 2021, but Mercedes has won the last 2 rounds at the Red Bull Ring. And when it comes to driver form, someone I didn't pick out earlier is Valtteri Bottas. The Finn seems to love the track, finishing 2nd and 1st last year, 3rd in 2019, 1 in 17, and scored every year prior to that with Williams. Of course, Hamilton and Verstappen both also have some good results and good form in Austria, but I am going to back Bottas for this one, and I'm going to go for pole and the win for the Finn. Yes, I'm being serious. Again, it's a track he loves. He seems to have found some form in France. Why not? Behind him, I will be boring and go with a Mercedes 1-2 with Verstappen 3rd. But, as I always say, these are just guesses based on previous form and results. And with the 2 teams being so close at the front, it could just as easily end up being Verstappen, Bottas, Hamilton, or Hamilton, Verstappen and Bottas. Keep an eye on Ferrari and McLaren in Austria though. The lap is so short and that tends to mean much smaller gaps through the field on a Saturday. And given how much the field has closed up this year and the fact we've seen Ferrari take 2 poles and McLaren challenged for 1 Imola, in case you're wondering, although Norris's time was of course deleted, but they could both be dark horses to shock us in quali this weekend. It will be those two heading the rest, by the way, in my opinion, and I fancy McLaren to just about come out on top. And if we get rain and perhaps a little bit of chaos, maybe Daniel Ricciardo, Charles Leclerc or Lando Norris could pick up a podium. So for my one to watch this weekend, I'm going to go with McLaren and Ferrari as teams, but Lando Norris as the driver, because he's had such a strong start to the year, and if an opportunity for a podium does crop up, he may well be the one to take it. Before I go then, let's have a quick look at the weekend schedule. Not much to report as it's the standard European session times. So FP1 will start at 10:30 AM UK time, that's BST, with FP2 getting going from 2 PM on Friday afternoon. FP3 is underway from 11 AM on Saturday, and as is the norm, all 3 practice sessions are just 1 hour long. Qualifying starts at 2 PM later on Saturday, and on Sunday it's lights out for the race at 2 PM. That is it for the Styrian Grand Prix preview then, but you can let me know your thoughts and your predictions ahead of the weekend in the comments section down below. So, as always, who do you think will take pole on Saturday and who's grabbing the win on Sunday? What is your podium? Now, I will be back soon with another video, and don't forget to join us live on Sunday for some immediate race reaction. In the meantime, though, if you did enjoy this video, then please do leave a like, as it does really help give the channel a little bit of a boost. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future content. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean, this has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.